city resolutions so that cities will officially be adopting resolutions to support water import. And then after the presentations, we will have a discussion, Q&A, and we have a special announcement from a guest named Roy Durantes, who has a new show called Saving the Salton Sea. So we're very excited for that as well. So I'm going to read Salton Sea, California, circa 2050. I remember the days when this obscure place in the desert called the Salton Sea was almost a ghost town. Most of the thriving businesses and homes of a century ago had fallen into disrepair, along with much of the hope for the region. It was getting drier. The whole state had water issues. People and ecosystems were suffering, and we almost lost the Salton Sea. Needed water transfers to the coast left the people of the Imperial and Coachella Valleys wondering if their health, wildlife, and entire way of life would dry up. Countless plans were proposed to fix the region, but the leadership was divided. The mindset was perpetuating one-term thinking. People were planning for what they had, not what they would have, with collaboration, a good long-term roadmap, and a high enough ask for what was truly needed. You see, the people were afraid. They were acting out of fear of what might happen in failure and holding those fears in their mind instead of envisioning a higher vision of a better future. Eventually, action was taken just quick enough to save most of the incredible biodiversity at the Salton Sea. People finally came together to complement each other's work and bet on innovation and new technologies. They acted just quick enough to not repeat the history of failed water projects. The people and agencies simply began to act in the mindset of the greater good, not just the greatest profit. They understood the law of attraction and dreamed big. A creative system of dikes and floating barriers were used to create sustainable habitat and recreation. A myriad of wetlands were created, and we were able to separate different salinities and use natural filtration systems to treat inflows and cover dust. Renewable energy resources were expanded to greatly help California edge off fossil fuel consumption. Their federal and state governments, construction and engineering companies, private companies, nonprofits came to the rescue with any resources they had. The water and companies came to a complementary shared vision for the future, greatly benefiting their stakeholders and the people. Even farmers did their part by volunteering to gradually switch to organic farming when possible. These people and organizations showed true leadership when they actually helped each other with a shared understanding that they were paving the way for their children's futures. While wetland was underway, representatives from federal, state, and local governments joined forces to create a public-private partnership to import water, with inspiration from the Red to Dead Sea project in the Middle East. They knew the coast would need more water and Mexico may need their river. Once the people heard about these efforts, morale changed. Young people knew they had a future, and older people felt safe to retire and invest. There were enough resources to go around. The region truly began to boom while respecting quality habitat. People were excited to get in on the next big thing in California. Multi-billion-dollar reinvestment came from real estate, renewable energy, and ecotourism. Businesses popped up throughout the valley. Renewably powered desalination created water resources for the sea and throughout the Southwest. Trees were planted to give life to a more balanced environment and even more species of plants and animals. Wildlife would once again thrive. And it's beautiful. It's a place where people want to be. Leaders were remembered for their contributions of this new facet of sustainable society, and it's truly become a shining example of the best of what humanity is capable of, in the spirit of innovation, collaboration, multi-generational thinking, and hope. We saved the Salton Sea, and it all began with daring to dream big together. As a kid, I remember playing in the backyard with my brother, and we had a hill and just a dirt patch, and we turned the garden hose on the top of the hill, and we watched as the water trickled down and made little pools. We've all done that, right? And then we started planting plants along this little mud river. It was so obvious that water brought life. We can do that. at the Salton Sea, and that's what tonight is about. Tonight is the teams that have solutions to restore the Salton Sea. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'd like to encourage you all to help the people that you see in this room, to help these teams to visualize what you want to see for the Salton Sea's restoration. Visualize the future that you want to see. Let's not give the focus, don't give the energy to the things that haven't worked. Let's focus on these teams. So I have a quick background and announcement from the Natural Resources Agency, and then I'll turn it over to Mr. Chuck Parker. So we had a good conversation today with Mr. Arturo Delgado of the Natural Resources Agency, and they wanted people to know that they are still moving forward with a back approach. There's the 10-year plan to create wetlands now. I see this as an arc that keeps animals alive until we have a larger solution. And then there's the long-term plan. And they wanted to communicate that they're working on these in parallel. By the end of March, they're hoping to have on an independent reviewer, as non-biased as possible, that currently doesn't have ties to the Salton Sea region. And that independent reviewer will be announced in March. And that is the team that will be reviewing the 11 proposals that have been put forward, and most of which are here tonight. So your efforts are practice for the Natural Resources Agency's team, in addition to getting the public on your side and cheering you on. We're all here for you. So they are still moving to develop a long-term plan with future inflows, and this will be announced in March. And that long-term plan, which will be working with some of these teams, is due to the State Water Board by 2022. And we had a long conversation about what water import can mean for the region. So tonight I encourage you all to find ways that you can work together. All of you have some fantastic ideas, and it's quite likely that we can work together even better if your ideas merge and are melded together. Now we'll move on to action. So our teams have been working to adopt resolutions supporting water import throughout cities. And I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Chuck Parker of the Salton Sea Coalition before we have our first presenter with Aegis Inc. So do we have you on, Chuck Parker? Let's have you unmute. And then we'd like to hear.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, thank you for joining us tonight. What are these resolutions? What's the Salton Sea Coalition? How can we help?
Well, I have a little short PowerPoint. If I can share, if you can share the screen for me, I'll put it up here.
Sure.
Are you going to push the share screen button, or should I?
You can now press the share screen button.
Okay.
Chuck, and please.
All right, and let's see. Well, it didn't. Where'd it go?
If you're not sharing now, please turn off your share.
Okay, I got it.
I have a lot of people going on.
I got it. Okay, so our Salton Sea Coalition,
One moment, please. Let's make sure everyone can see it. I can't yet see your screen. So
bring your shared window to the front. Is that any better?
Let's see if anyone else.
No, can't see it.
We have that frozen. So I'm going to turn you off for just a second. Let's try one more time. Okay, try again. And once again, if you're not presenting, please don't share your screen yet. All right, one more time. And if not, I'm happy to walk through. Fantastic. We see that, Chuck.
Okay. Okay. I'll just read through this. Our Salton Sea Coalition is headquartered in the Coachella Valley. We're volunteers. We've been active for about 3 years. In the past 2 years, we got support resolutions from all of the Coachella Valley cities for ocean water import, as well as the Torres Martinez tribe and the College of the Desert. Let's see, next slide. Okay. In 2019, all 9 cities passed resolutions similar to this one from Indian Wells. The City Council adopted a resolution on November 7th, 2019, declaring support for comprehensive analysis and review of all 11 ocean water import alternatives as a long-term solution for the restoration of the Salton Sea, and that the results be incorporated into the SSMP. We were very happy with this. It was a nearly unanimous vote on the part of the city council members, and it reflects what I think most of us have experienced is when you go out and talk to everyday people, this is the solution that is just obvious to most people, that we need water. The only place you can get it is either the Sea of Cortez or the Pacific Ocean, and that's the first big step to restoring the Salton Sea. In 2019, November, the state's Salton Sea Management Plan decided that a feasibility study would be required of these ocean water import proposals. They received no response on 2 requests for proposals to conduct this study. And as of now, well, I guess Carrie has found out they're saying they'll have a reviewer on board in March of this year.
That was news from the CNRA's Arturo Delgado.
Right. In 2020, the cities were concerned about those delays and the fast approaching deadline for a long-term solution, which is December of 2022. So 7 of the 9 cities so far have passed follow-up resolutions. Indian Wells, Rancho Mirage, and Cathedral City adopted similar resolutions. Their resolutions declared continued support for comprehensive analysis of ocean water import alternatives as part of the long-term solution. 2, encouraging the state to aggressively pursue the creation of independent reviewer panel. And 3, to meet the deadline of December 31st, 2022 for a long-term solution for the Salton Sea. 4 cities, Desert Hot Springs, Coachella, Palm Desert, and La Quinta, called for an engineering analysis funding. Their resolutions read that the Salton Sea Management Plan allocate $2 million of the $507.5 million in unused and available funding for restoring the Salton Sea for an immediate comparative engineering review of ocean water import proposals accepted by the state in 2018. Palm Desert requested that the SSMP allocate sufficient funds for an immediate comparative engineering review. So we felt these were pretty strong statements of support for some forward motion on evaluating ocean water import and actually hopefully bringing it into being. So if any of you would like copies of these resolutions, you can contact us, the Salton Sea Coalition. My email is up here. It's pchuck48@gmail.com. Or you can call me or text me at 760-880-6453. And if you want to use the mail, it's a P.O. Box 10693, Palm Desert, California. So that pretty much summarizes our efforts so far.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Chuck. And our team, we have a volunteer team of passionate Salton Sea supporters at the EcoMedia Compass. We'll be happy to support you with that. We just had a confirmation that Indio today is expecting that resolution from us, so we could send that over. That was an exciting thing to receive, so we'll keep on that in the Coachella Valley. And then we would also encourage those in this room to help us approach the city councils in Imperial Valley to get the cities there as well on board adopting resolutions for water import. This is going to be important. And we have close to 2 years for a finished water import plan to be presented to the governor. So it's time to come together and let's encourage these teams that you see present. Please encourage them. Teams, offer your contact information. These people are going to be here to help you. This is our team of water import supporters. And without further ado, let's move on to the first presentation. So this is going to be Mr. Nathan White and perhaps another team member of Aegis. I'm going to hit the clock and as soon as your screen is sharing, I'll hit the clock and you'll have 10 minutes.
Perfect. Thank
And
you so
you're on.
much. Are we getting started?
Yeah, we're getting started, and I wanted to let everybody know this is being translated in Spanish. If you currently have a friend that wants to get on in Spanish, that is listed on the event page. And the information that Chuck mentioned is on the website as well at ecomediacompass.org. So excited for that. And let's hear Aegis' plan for adding water to the Salton Sea. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. So my name is Nathan White. Been working on Salton Sea related projects for almost 8 years now, and worked with a lot of people in this room. Very excited to have an opportunity to share our proposed plan. Wanted to thank everybody for all their hard work. It's really a group effort, as Carrie mentioned. So without any delay, the project that we're talking about this evening, one of the ones that we've been working on within our team, Aegis Inc. is a professional project management group. This is one of the projects we have on the board, and we're looking at Tres Lagunas, or the 3Cs project. So this is the Salton Sea, Laguna Salada, and the Colorado River Delta. And this is a summary of our climate mitigation and management strategies, because we look and see that this project actually goes beyond just the ability to affect these 3 regional areas. So this is our project team that we have here. Myself, CEO, co-founder. Richard Allen White is our controller, and we have our project development director, which is Robert Simpson. And then we have our civil engineering partner in Mexicali, which is Alan Dennis. And Ingenieria Dennis, he's been doing a lot of work on this project so far. So as we go through the conceptual project, what's different on our project than most of the other projects that you'll hear tonight, we're looking at, as I mentioned, 3 Cs. We have this area that's down south, which is the Colorado River Delta, and then the protected estuary that's down in that region. We have Laguna Salada, which is the ancestral fishing grounds for the local Kukapa tribe. We're looking at restoring that and keeping that salinity level. And this project itself is kind of a standalone. Everything south of the border, we can start working on permits right now. And that doesn't involve crossing the US-Mexico border, but we can do that in parallel to bring water down to the Salton Sea. As you can see here, the advantage that we're finding is that we could evaporate a lot of water into the Colorado River Basin. So this is really a national restoration of the Southwest with the evaporation water that we're finding here. So I'll just go through these bullet points real quick. What Tres Lagunas is, we moderate local and regional climate with this evaporation water that's encouraged in the region. We replenish upper elevation water banks. So all this water that evaporates in this region and these wetlands around Laguna Salada and the Salton Sea can add water to the Colorado River Basin and evaporate that water, which is a little bit different than the other projects you'll see here tonight, that we can actually fully restore and add precipitation in the Colorado River Basin. Reduces fire risk for the state of California due to this precipitation and evaporation. We restore, expand, and recirculate aquatic environments, specifically Colorado River Delta and the estuary, Salton Sea, and Laguna Salada. Mitigate toxic Ocotillo wells dust and the Salton Sea exposed playa. So this project also can use ocean water to plant green landscapes, ocean tolerant landscapes, and seawater farming on the west shores that prevents that toxic dust. And it also fills Laguna Salada to bring water in and prevent toxic dust that comes up from the south during the Santa Anas. We have green energy, multiple green energy opportunities, pumped hydroelectric storage facilities, restore livable and recreation aquatic environments, economic recovery due to the COVID crisis that we're having, which is blue and green jobs, and freshwater sustainability for the region. So this is the main hypothesis of our project. Down here in green, this evaporation water that we can encourage can actually enhance and prolong the North American monsoon. So you can see that the effect of Tres Lagunas has is on the southwest area of the United States. Atmospheric conveyor belt pushes evaporated water through the Tres Lagunas corridor. When seas are full, they provide a small boost to winter rains and large summer rains, which is actually where Colorado River Basin gets most of its water, is during the summer. Upper Colorado River Basin is surrounded by mountains that are at least 8,500 feet high. So we have an area that this drops a lot of water where we can enhance that cycle. Restoration of these seas creates an increased upper elevation water bank. So this is dropping water all in this region, and the Salton Sea can be impetus for restoring the Southwest here, which is, I think, pretty important. Looking at the Salton Sea itself, we're breaking it into different salinity zones where we can have a majority of the Salton Sea be fully usable aquatic habitat. And we're looking at having a salt sink. This isn't the final version. We're working with different industrial partners to reduce the size of the salt sink or eliminate it completely. A lot of those people could be on this call today. And the nice thing that this allows is it's a passive system. So water that flows in, this salt sink could be a berm that we install with a floating barge, and we could obviously delete it at a later date just by bringing the barge back around. But this is a passive system that would last for a few hundred years, or maybe a few thousand years. Moving forward, and just as we talk about this, this is an optional. We can always go beyond this or eliminate it completely, like I mentioned. Going to the next slide. So the Colorado River Delta, this region, you can kind of currently see these salinity zones. This is actually not good for the endangered species, the vaquita and the toclava here, because of the increased salinity. So if you look at our proposed project, we balance out that salinity by bringing water into the sea, into Laguna Salada and circulating it back around. So we don't have this spike of 39 parts per thousand within the ocean. So this should encourage not only this habitat, but the habitat that's here, which brings high quality ocean water down to the Salton Sea. As you can see here, this project can exist without crossing the US-Mexico border. We already have partners that are working on this now. We just executed an agreement with our engineering firm to do zoning research, to do hydrology studies, to start to actually draw the schematic designs for this canal system. So that should be completed in about a month and a half. You can see slightly heated water in Laguna Salada can trigger an enhanced monsoon cycle. So that's really important theory and hypothesis that we can actually encourage, prolong, enhance the North American monsoon, expand aquatic habitat in the northern Gulf of California into Laguna Salada. So we get more habitat. We actually get a backup system for the Salton Sea where all the endangered birds can use this ecosystem while the rest of the projects are happening within the Salton Sea. If we can build this project in a few years, we'll have a backup for the 10-year plan that takes that much time to cross the border with water. No energy circulation system using high tides, which is really important. This doesn't have energy systems once the system's built because of the high tides in the Gulf of California. And it, as mentioned, the Pacific Flyway gets support quickly with ocean water. Let's see here. So you can see as we expand, we go beyond, circulate that system, zero added energy salt sink, import. We can import as much water as we want to encourage some of the green energy aquaculture operations that can utilize seawater, and we could provide ocean water to the west shores to prevent that dust. And it fixes the salt issue in the Salton Sea. We'll need to fix that issue in the northern Gulf of California. Ample tidal energy is available.
You have a minute and a half?
Sure, sounds good. So you can see some of these images that we're looking at. These could be some artificial islands that are created on either tribal land or other land to increase and create property value. This is also aquatic mitigation systems using phytomining and phytoremediation. These berms can also support recreation. As you can see here, we can have educational barges, people enjoying that. But most of all, it cleans the water with natural passive systems. And we have several industrial partners that do that work. This is a blow-up image of our diagrams. As you can see, we can produce wind energy on the west shores of Laguna Salada. We can do seawater farming on the west shores of Laguna Salada as well as on the north. We can do solar farming, and most importantly, create this green energy infrastructure and create the jobs that it would take to get a project built. Pump hydroelectric. Most importantly is a waste to energy conversion facility that we can do recycled plastic that can create our biofuel. And the big hypothesis is importing this evaporation water into the Colorado River Basin. None of the projects that you'll see tonight have that opportunity because we're looking at the science approach of how we can actually mitigate and have a positive effect not only on these ecosystems but further beyond.
Thank you very much, Nathan. We'll have your contact info just for a second. Everyone, please don't hesitate to reach out to this team. You can also reach out in chat.
Yep.
And we're going to stop video, reach them at aegisinc.com.
Yep, and I just want to mention quickly, we're going to have a binational summit on March 17th to 19th, so anybody can join, and I already put the link in the description. So thanks so much.
Thank you. We will have questions available after the presentation. Thank you so much, Aegis. All right, next up, we have Cordoba Group. And if you are ready to share, let's make sure you have the ability to share your screen. Let me get that going. Okay. Kenneth, let's make sure we have you unmute. All right.
All right, can you all hear me?
Yes, we can, Rich. Thank you.
Good.
All right, your 10 minutes is counting. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Richard Coles, and I'm the Senior Vice President of Water Infrastructure at Cordoba. We're a civil engineering firm involved in energy, transportation, water, wastewater, and so on. Personally, I've been working for the last 19 years on the Owens Lake, starting from zero to where we are today. I've also had the opportunity when I worked for Tetra Tech to look at many of the land side, and I liked your, Carrie, I liked your analysis of Noah's Ark. Thought that was pretty good. I see all of those projects correlating and combining with what we're going to propose this evening. Next slide. So these are some of the key success factors that when we put this together, we felt that we needed to do. And clearly the health-related issues on the playa are absolutely essential to mitigate. These are similar to what went on at Owens Lake. During the initial permitting, design, and construction, the lake itself will recede, and mitigation of and re-entrainment of PM10 is a major concern, in particular for the individuals that live there. Create an ecosystem that is viable and meets the birds and fish. I think that's key to what we're doing. Give life to the community. Jobs are critical, and I think that this approach will do that. Economic value, it does integrate with a 10-year plan, as I said earlier. I think that one of the things that we need to really be careful with, based on my experiences, is number 7, and that's stakeholder engagement. In particular, when you're dealing with a binational project such as this. Next slide. So we've already started to take a close look at who will be needed to be included in what we're going to do with respect to permitting itself. And clearly the California National Resources Agency, Salton Sea Authority, and I am certain that we'll get scrutiny from the EPA. And we estimate there will be 22 different stakeholders on this project. So we have a partner in Mexico. We've done extensive amounts of routing analysis and location of various pump stations and so on to actually bring the water to the lake. That may include a desalination plant that will be operated by turbines that are created from the shift in elevation. Next slide. This is where the area that we have been focused on to route the pipeline. I think it's important. One of the things that we have looked at is the sensitivity in the northern part of the Sea of Cortez itself. It's actually pretty critical, and the Mexican government's very concerned about it. So we took a good hard look at the shrimp farm, which is now defunct, and we're looking at two potential ways to bring the water up. And so this will be the exact route of the pipeline will be governed by rights of way, by our ability to manage the right-of-way terrain and other elevations that we'll have to deal with. Next slide. Water sources and feasibility. We're looking at two different alternatives. As I mentioned earlier, the shrimp farm in Sonora. But we're also looking at Baja North and Mexicali and San Felipe. Water intake directly from the Sea of Cortez. We're concerned that we don't introduce new species, invasive species. So looking at both a combination of wells and direct inlets with screens is how we're going to mitigate that. I think key to this is to do a thorough analysis on our feasibility, and it needs to consider the environmental, social aspects, technical viability, and rights of way. That will become very important in Mexico. Key constraints are pretty straightforward. You know, there are regulatory, governmental approval, and so on. Analysis of the two viable alternatives will drop out of the feasibility. Next slide. So as I indicated, we may put prior to the discharge here, a desalination plant, which I don't expect to be clearly to drinking water standards, but will reduce the incoming salt. And these are the screens and wells, over here that we indicated. This will go to a reservoir up here and then ultimately be distributed to the lake. Next slide. I think one of the key things as the previous presenter indicated, salinity management is a huge issue. We've looked at hypersaline areas, both on the Owens Lake and Salton Sea. And we believe that management of that salt will be critical to the long-term success of the project itself. Next slide. Here's our goals and objectives. I think it's very important to state them up front. And it does complement the 10-year plan. It provides a holistic approach to the long-term solution, focuses on collaboration. Everybody needs to be on the same page. My experience at the Owens Lake, when you run a $500 million project, everybody has to be on board. And I see this project being very similar in many ways. I think we have the flexibility to incorporate value adjustments and alternatives. And every major project that I've worked on requires flexibility and the dynamic project management. So I also believe key to this is bringing in economic value and job creation, both in Mexico and at the lake. Next slide. There you are. Here's my contact information, and I'll take questions as needed. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Richard. We really appreciate you tuning in tonight and sharing some visions of a way that we can restore the Salton Sea. In many of these presentations, you'll see, and we're already seeing, that there are some overlap ideas, and there are a lot of concepts that can complement each other. So we encourage you to find a way to work together and present some of these plans either as one or simplify this so that it's the state's obvious choice. And let's just keep this in mind as we go forward. You are all experts. Let's find a way to have the state understand that this is the obvious complementary choice. I do want to thank Mr. Eric Hanscom, who is on our team, and you may see he is helping moderate as well. He's one of our co-hosts. He is our board member, and he's a fantastic drone pilot. So thank you, Eric, for managing that. Next up, we have GEI Consultants, and that is with Mr. Michael Clinton and if any friends. Let me turn that over to Michael. Just a moment. Okay, Mike, can we unmute you? Are you on with us, Mike? All right, we have about 30 more seconds until his.
Michael Clinton is on but muted.
Let's find a way to make sure we unmute him. He is co-host. All right, if we can't, there we go. Mike, are you with us?
I am. Can you hear me?
Fantastic. We can hear you, good sir. So who are you? Where are you from? How are you going to save the Salton Sea?
Yeah, my name is Michael Clinton. I'm a civil engineer based in Las Vegas, Nevada. I have a lot of history in Colorado River and Salton Sea hydrology. I was the general manager until at IID until 1996. And during that time, I negotiated an agreement with with San Diego to export water from the Salton Sea Basin, which has caused the Salton Sea decline and a lot of the salinity issues that are there. And I knew at that point in time that a solution was necessary. I started looking for a solution in the early 1990s. My first presentation of a possible solution was in 1996 to a forum in the Coachella Valley. Since then, the concept we have developed, and I've done this jointly with Jeff Harvey, who is an environmental consultant out of La Quinta. Since that time, since 1996, the concepts and ideas have continued to evolve. And I think we may have made 40 or 50 presentations as that concept evolved. As we've developed the last concept and we continue to work on how to refine it, the potential solution has come to a point where we see a few constraints that are difficult to overcome. In the first place, instead of a pipeline, we use canals. Canals have about 10% of the energy requirement that a pipeline has. So moving water from the Sea of Cortez to the Salton Sea has a lot less energy required than moving the water in a pipeline system. Secondly, One of the additional issues that we've seen is the water shortages in the Colorado River Basin that are being caused by climate change. The inflow to Lake Powell historically has been 11 or 12 million acre feet a year. The most recent Salton Sea or Colorado River water supply analyses by the United States Geological Survey suggests that 11 million acre feet will reduce by 4 million acre feet a year. Now, that will impact not only Lake Powell, but Lake Mead. Unless there's an augmentation program for the Colorado River, there is no solution to the Salton Sea, because the Colorado River Basin states have said the two go in tandem with each other. Therefore, our project has been evolving toward not only restoring the Salton Sea, but looking for ways to augment the Colorado River. As we've brought water up to the international border for both those issues, we've looked at a distillation project, which is far more efficient than reverse osmosis. The issue with both reverse osmosis and distillation is what you do with the salt. And in our current configuration, we have more than 100 million tons of salt a year to dispose of. We've looked at taking that down into the area of the Sea of Cortez on down to disposing of it between the sea and the coast of Baja down at the Santa Maria Islands. That is technically feasible, but very, very expensive. And so we've looked at other ways to dispose of that salt, looking at abandoned mines or potentially abandoned mines to dispose of it, not only in Imperial County, but north in Riverside County and elsewhere. Those sites seem feasible for some of the salt disposal, but the total quantity of salt that we have to dispose of seems to be more than those two mining programs have looked at. The engineering work on any project is not the constraint. The constraint will be the physical disposal of salt, and secondly, the sociology that's involved in developing a restoration project. And that sociology goes not only from the Salton Sea area, but includes the Colorado River Basin states, who have said a Salton Sea solution will not go along with the Colorado River solution, or else they'll be neither one. Secondly, the sociology involves Mexico, of course, the Coachella Valley cities, the rest of the Imperial Valley, including IID, which I think is essential to any solution. And third, the federal and state issue groups who are both involved in the Salton Sea and the Colorado River. We've not seen any action by either the federal government or the state of California toward moving this program forward. The 10-year plan is important. It will restore some habitat programs, but the other side of that 10-year plan is that those ponds that are proposed will not only provide wildlife habitat, but the residue out of those ponds will do two things. It'll be salty, increasing the salinity of the Salton Sea, and secondly, it will reduce the flow into the Salton Sea. So the result of the 10-year plan is that the Salton Sea level elevation will increase more drastically than it would without the 10-year plan. And nobody seems to talk about that impact of the 10-year plan. So therefore, some kind of an augmentation program for the Salton Sea is essential, because it has to not only restore the sea, but it has to offset the impact of the 10-year plan. So I don't want to use any more of your time, Carrie. I don't know if Jeff Harvey came on. He was supposed to come on because he's the expert on the ecology, but the ecology is obvious. If we don't restore the sea and the delta, we won't have a solution. If we don't restore the flow in the Colorado River, we won't have a solution. So those two go in tandem, and without one, you won't have the other. And the environmental compliances of not doing either are pretty drastic. If we allow Lake Powell and Lake Mead to desiccate, to fall drastically, and create shortages in both the upper basin and the lower basin, the agricultural production and society that we have known historically in both the upper and lower basins will disappear. That means IID will disappear as a farming entity. That means the Grand Valley in the upper basin will disappear as an agricultural entity, and all of the other Coachella and upper basin irrigated areas will disappear. In fact, they're disappearing as we speak. The speculators are coming in and buying up those water rights in anticipation of the shortages, and they're getting ready to sell the water rights off of those lands to cities and towns and other areas that will have shortages. So that concludes my presentation. Like I say, I appreciate the forum that's being set up, and I think it's an essential forum, and I welcome everybody else's input, and it's all very valuable. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight, representing GEI Consultants. That was Michael Clinton. Michael, do you have contact information that you wanted to share?
Yeah, it's Michael Clinton Engineering. The email is McEngineer, MCENGINR @AOL.com. My phone number is 702-807-9071. I'd love to hear from anyone who would like to discuss this. I've had a lot of discussion with other people around the sea, and I welcome the dialogue, because I know that the solution we have is not perfect. It will have to evolve over the next 4 or 5 years, and then go into the engineering.
We need to be fair with time, and we're a little over 10 minutes, so we're gonna stop here. But please do reach out to Mr. Clinton if you have questions there. We will open it up for a Q&A after. Thank you so much for joining us. And one other thing that we're gonna do with EcoMedia Compass website to support these teams is offer that each team is welcome to put this presentation material on our website. So if they would like to have that hosted on our website, we will build that into the website so that the public can access this material. And we hope that each team is able to do that. The next presenter is Mr. Nikola Lakic of Geothermal Worldwide. So we're going to turn that over to you. Do we have you on board, Nikola?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay,
I'm here.
Sir. We appreciate you joining us, and let's turn on your 10 minutes. Let's go.
Okay, very good. So you can hear me.
Yes, sir.
I'm very pleased that finally I will have opportunity to say a few words. Unfortunately, 10 minutes is not enough, but I will do my best. I need about 2.5 hours, possible 3. I am graduate engineer architect. I'm inventor of the several breakthrough technologies in energy industry about solar, new solar panel system, a new system for transporting water from pipeline that in downhill route generate electricity. Right, that can be used for horizontal and uphill routes. I'm also inventor of new breakthrough technology for harnessing geothermal energy, and also technology that for drilling deeper and wider wellbore. 3 breakthrough technology in energy industry that will change an energy industry, will make geothermal #1. But we are talking about Salton importing seawater right now. Let me see what I can do if I can summarize the summary. Can you see on screen right now something?
Not yet.
Not
So
yet.
there should be a button at the bottom that says share screen, a green button with an arrow.
Okay. Now, can you hear that? Can you see this?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
How can I go up and down? Let me see. Oh boy. How can I go back to the screen? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. How can I go back to the from this screen? I was hoping to go up and down, but it looks like I cannot do that. Huh? Can I?
It
Okay,
should
let me
look
see.
like the regular computer. You're sharing
Okay.
one program at a time.
Well, I was hoping to go up and down from slide. This is just one slide. I have a bunch of.
If you stop sharing, you have the option to share multiple windows.
How can I get that option?
So click out of stop sharing. There should be a button that says stop sharing your screen. I believe it's probably up top.
Oh, I'm sorry for this. Well,
That's okay.
uh,
Let me turn off that option. One moment.
well, on my
Okay.
task.
Now you can share screen again. So I turned off your sharing option.
Well, now I don't see. Now I don't see that option. I see on the left and right. You gentlemen. Okay, I can see you right now. But where is my screen? Get it now. Zoom. Well, want me to download Zoom again? Well, that's not right. Let me see back.
We're seeing Nicola Lakic's first screen still as an audience member. So I don't know if his stop share actually happened.
Okay.
It stopped sharing, right? I don't see that. So how can I go back?
Okay, I'm going to stop your video, and while I'm stopping video, I'll
Okay,
stop.
can you see right now?
Okay.
New share.
I'm asking you to start video.
It's not video. It's not video. It's slides. I have several sections that I was hoping. Each of them has 14 slides, but I was hoping at least from each of them, which I have on the bottom, to scroll up and down and during my presentation to point on that illustration. But looks like I cannot do that.
Let's try one more time. I've given you control back to share your screen, so we're doing our best.
I say start my video, but I don't have video.
Just try pressing the share screen in the bottom center of your computer screen again. The Zoom window, the little yellow green.
Okay, right, okay. And I have several illustration that each of them should be able to go up and down. And I was hoping, as I'm doing on my screen, that you will be able to see that, not just one slide.
Nicola, I didn't see it if you did. Did you email your presentation? Some teams emailed me a presentation in case they weren't able to.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. But this is very, very important. And I don't know, I was hoping to speak with you a little bit earlier so you can figure out about this. Boy, so what we can do right now, looks like I'm frozen.
Well, I'll check through your email and see if we have that.
Gary,
Yeah.
why don't we move on to the next guy and help Nikolai fix his problem and then just come up
That sounds
next
like a
after.
good idea. Thank you, Gary. Let's do that. So
We don't want to.
I will be on the same. I will be on the same problem before. I don't know how to fix it unless you can see what I'm doing on my screen.
okay, you can forward me your email. I mean, email me your presentation.
I did.
Okay. Okay, let me share that then. Okay, here we go. I'll pull up your last email and share your screen. Okay, here we go. I'm going to share your screen and we'll do it our best. Just tell me where to move, okay?
Okay. So
Okay.
go to the what is double plus in parentheses 1.
Okay. Can people see figure
Right.
1?
Oh, yeah, very good. Okay. Would I be able to control this?
Not at this time. Sorry, just let me know.
Not on this time. Damn. Can I try myself again?
If we keep going through technical issues,
Okay.
we're going to have to move on.
Okay. Okay. Go down with this one. Okay. Stop there. Okay.
Perfect.
This is a corridor from San Felipe to the Salton Sea. Okay. It's there is elevation about 35 feet, so we could be able to do siphon system. Now, next slide. Go below that, a little bit below. Okay, keep that one. This is main drawings. Okay, you can see here gates. You see New River and Alamo River. That's New River will be dry wash. Okay, we don't need New River and Alamo River. We can redirect them. There is little gates here, say gates, to refill Laguna Salada. Mexico would love to have it. Very good. Now we can reestablish flow to the Gulf of Mexico. So whales and fish, wildlife, they would love to see that too, to have that minerals back. In return, we can ask for corridor, negotiate it from San Felipe. See that line going up straight to the Salton Sea? That one, go. Very good, very good. On the left, a little bit to the left. Okay, that one going to the center part of the lake. So now, we all know that Salton Sea is lower than ocean, about 70 meters, 220 feet. New River and Alamo River are polluted, the biggest pollutant. So how we can stop pollution? Well, by redirecting New River and Alamo River back to the Mexico. Again, it's not polluted. Pollution starting on our side, pesticides, fertilizer to farmland, to imperial. So they would love to have that. There is a little area that needs earthwork about 2 miles east of the Mexicali. I studied topography very well, and this is the best route. Can you go a little bit down, next one, to zoom in? Okay, very good, very good. Okay, now, if you can see, there is 3 pipelines. You can see dash line, New River, Alamo River. They are, dash line will be dry wash. Now you see central pipeline, very good. You say you have western pipeline, western one, on western side. That one, and there is one east side, on east side. Each of them is about 30, 35, 40 miles. Will be ribs perpendiculars from that. It's all together about 740 miles pipeline. That pipeline, I'm using solar panels on the pipeline to produce electric energy, and using pipelines for irrigation. Now, and it's about $1 billion revenue every year. But let's be conservative. Let's talk $100 million just revenue out of blue, literally. So if you see down on the center part of the line, close to the Mexico border, down, see there is a valve. Okay, that could be park. We have some reservoir. We have downhill. Each of those pipelines has a little reservoir that will be park with a little pond, little lake. Very good. And then we have valves that will be controlled with valves. We have another valves down close to the inflow in the lake. Each of those lines has valves. Very good. There. So we can control. First of all, we have to divide lake on 3 sections: big central, northern section, and southern sections. Why? Well, first of all, to stop pollution of the center part of the lake. Center part of the lake, we can bring seawater from Sea of Cortez, one corridor, and another corridor from Laguna from Long Beach. So I'm proposing both corridors. First one, of course, because we don't want to give a New River, Alamo River for free. We want to give them to the Mexico and negotiate to give us corridor pipeline only 48 inches. I can bring about 1 million acres feet plus, just with one pipeline. Pipeline also 48 inches from Long Beach can bring about 2 million acres feet. So Salton Sea will be area where we can store, we can produce potable water by using geothermal energy and solar energy. How? Well, I would need about half hour on each of those to explain you. On right side, you have, see on south part, there is that area where I reserve it, 1 L square. Can you see the L square? It's a dry land proposed for that one, very good. Okay, needs to be berm, dikes all around. IID like that area, fine, they can have it for conventional geothermal reservoir. On right side of it, east side, there is a bunch of circles, say, geothermal power plants. Okay, can you show that one a little bit? There is one row, that one, very good. Each of those circle is power plant that's about diameter of the 500 meters. And there is 24 well bores. Let me see if I can go.
You have about 2 minutes, Nicola.
Oh boy. I would just like to say that each of those, how that geothermal power plant work is very interesting. So I'm taking salty water from the bottom of the lake. I'm doing desalination, taking brine from the lake, using in boilers of my design geothermal power plant, producing electricity. Byproduct is potable water and brine that can be used for production of lithium. So will be condition for tourism. We can swim, we can reestablish beaches back. We can hotels, motels, exclusive real estate. So we can produce a substantial amount of electric energy, much more than with the geothermal existing conventional geothermal system. So I'm producing potable water, electricity, and condition for tourism. And north and south part of the lake will be mangrove tree, will be islands, will be birds. That will be potable water from canal. It is in harmony with quantification settlement agreement. So it's amazing, but again, 10 minutes is not enough. I need about 2-3 hours to go. How we can drill, how we can harness hydropower, how we can harness solar energy, how we can drill deeper and wider, and we can be #1 in world in production of lithium. Much more than just producing lithium from geothermal brine in conventional system. So I'm cleaning lake, doing desalination, and using that. People say, well, you are bringing salty water in already salty lake. Yes, but we needed salt because I can produce lithium from it.
Thank you.
But
So
again,
much.
10 minutes is not enough. I'm so sorry. But I would love if I can be invited about one afternoon. It's a comprehensive design. It's huge. It's a project of the century. It can be compared with the Hoover Dam in 1930s.
Thank you. Would you like to share your contact information?
Can you go on the first page on top? Okay, that one. I say my name. There is phone. There is email. Phone number should be area code 760-347-1609. But email is NLAKIC, my last name, and then @geothermalworldwide.com.
Nicola, thank you so much. We really appreciate you joining today. We would like to offer each team the ability to have each of their presentations listed on our website. We are going to be non-biased as possible, so we're going to offer the same to each of these teams to support.
I do understand, but I have about 120 slides. It's a substantial material.
You're brilliant, and it's fantastic, and thank you for your work.
Thank you.
We're going to move on to the next team. All right, so the next team is Quadrant 2, Roberto Casio. Let's get that lined up. And where is Mr. Casio? Let's see, here we go. Eric, can you help me unmute Roberto Cossio, please? And let's make sure that we get him all lined up for the next presentation.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Mr. Cossio, let's put you on video. Okay, so we should have you on video if you accept, and then you should have
Yeah, sure.
to share your screen. Here we go. We see you.
We there? Okay. How do I minimize this screen?
So you should
Okay,
have a button at
thank
the
you.
bottom that says share screen.
All right. Can you see me there?
Yes.
All right. Okay, I made a little script because English is my second language. Okay, so I'm gonna be reading it. And I want to start thanking EcoMedia Compass and the Salton Sea Coalition for the efforts to organize this forum. Uh, it's been a while since we see each other from the last forum. And I think that you could agree with me that things and the world is a little bit different in these days. So in this lapse of 2 years, I think we were able to see things happening down the US-Mexican border. Things like what happened with Constellation Brands. It is an unfortunate story, and that story involved the loss of $900 million project. What I'm trying to say is that this should give us an idea of what we could do in Mexico and what we are not able to do in Mexico. Because everybody has an idea of how to convey water from Mexico to US, but uh, we don't take in accountability that we need the will of Mexico to do all these projects. So, like you say, some projects overlap others because it's the nature of the beast. We are trying to reach the same goal, and cooperation, yeah, on this subject is a big matter. So I would like to share some things that I was able to watch on these years regarding what we cannot do in Mexico. Yeah, there are some things that we cannot flood the salada. That will create a social issue with the Kukapa tribe mainly. One of the first things that they told me in 2009 was, for no reason you are allowed to flood La Salada. And you can find out this information with any one of them. Yeah, they don't want La Salada to be flooded. There are several reasons for that, but most of those reasons are social. We cannot deposit residual hypersaline waters in Mexico, and we cannot cause social distress. Those are things that we have to take in consideration for each one of the projects, because time passed by, like Mr. Clinton was mentioning, the awareness of this project comes from a long time ago. We didn't move forward for many reasons, and I think it's time to make a list of weaknesses and strong points of the project in order to put together a real solution. Like in Salton Sea, is my understanding that Riverside has a different view of the project with Imperial County or Imperial Irrigation District. So maybe it's time to sit on the table and try to find a common ground in order to solve these projects. I'm going to start talking about our project. Yeah, our project implies either the delivery of seawater from the Sea of Cortez to the Mexican-U.S. border, or the delivery of desalinated water, and the quality and price will be defined by the STD requested by the off-taker. Our project, we see our project with a flexible way where we see ourselves as facilitators to put the water of the Sea of Cortez up to the border. And then we could merge with an American company or an American entity like the state of California, yeah, in order to make more easy the transition from Mexico to US. We could do it by ourselves too. We are an American entity too. But I think it would be more easy, like, I don't know, make partnership with the state of California, with IDD, with, I don't know. Yeah, we're open and we're flexible to do that. So the water we are planning to deliver, it goes downstream via a 100 kilometer concrete line channel. And the channel conveying capacity of the canal is 54 cubic meters per second. We use the same water for base load and ancillary load for the same system. Everything, all this electricity provided by green means, like the use of gravity, the Venturi effect, and others. The control of the channel, the proposed control of the channel is a SCADA system, and the water will be provided by an infiltration trench and a system of 160 beach wells. We have located these wells on the north part of the biosphere and along the number 5 highway that runs from north to south, crossing La Salada. We are all those wells are located in federal lands. We have a conditional use permit for 160 plus beach wells, as well as the surface rights for the Canal de los Chinos. Along with the Cucapa tribe, we hold legit development grounds for the area. And I think that is a very important portion of the equation, because when what we see is that in one hand, in order to make a project like this, and you need to hold the legit grounds for development rights, and on the other hand, you need an off-taker, a solid off-taker, and we are working on that. We count with a first tier S&P 500 water EPC. They are on board. And we also count with a local top tier Mexican EPC. and the financing is available bound to certain conditions, which obviously is going to be an LOI. And the project of our name is Canal Winnie Way, which in Kukapa land means the canal of the living stone, which is a sacred area located in the Kukapa Sierra. The type of our project is BOO, which is building, own, and operate.
You have about half a minute, good sir.
Excuse me?
You have a little under a minute.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So we are looking forward to make a win-win project. For that reason, we are also thinking to have an overprice tag to deliver or donate 0.66 cubic meters per second to the Colorado River in Mexico. We are also taking an accountability the new river, which nobody talks about that, but the new river is providing most of the contamination of Salton Sea.
Would you like to share your contact info, Mr. Casio?
Oh, yeah, sure. Yes. Hold on a second, please. Let me. Where is the? Share screen.
You have about 20 seconds, so
Okay.
we're wrapping up.
Let me go down. I can send you my
We're happy to list
contact
the
information.
presentation
Okay?
online.
Yeah,
and
sure.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
We
Thank you
appreciate
very much.
joining us.
Thanks to everybody for their efforts.
Wonderful. Okay, folks, we have 2 more teams to present, and then we'll open up for some discussion. The next team is the C2c Development Team. So let's make sure that we have those good people on the call. Let's see, where's Mr. Jennings? Eric, if you see Gary, please give him access.
I just unmuted Gary. He should be unmuted now.
There we go.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Carrie, I'm sending you a text message. Can you send this out to everybody so they can find us on Facebook?
We can list it in the chat, and then we can list everyone's presentation on the website, but we're going to be equal for this moving forward. And if anyone does want to send their presentations, we could send those to everyone, but I'm going to send out that invitation after the event.
So also, if Dan can let himself in.
I'm here. I'm sitting on the other side. I'm sitting on the other side of your palm tree.
Yeah, it's snowing at my house. So good afternoon, everybody. Carrie, can you put up my slide, please?
Let me bring that up for you. One moment. I think Eric has that. He may be better. If not, Eric, I'll pull it up. Let me know.
So everyone, the easiest way to communicate with us is on our Facebook page called Importing Seawater from Baja. That page has been up for 5 years. We have, 500-600 people on it. And can you go to page 2, please?
Sure.
So importing seawater from Baja is how you communicate with us, along with the other 500 folks on the page. My business partner is Dan Johnson. He's an attorney, and he's been with us on this 10-year journey. And what we're going to talk about today is not about the engineering of the canal, because all the talented engineers on this call, we all know it can be built. We all know it's a canal, not a pipe. We all understand the mechanics of getting water from one place to another. I think it's a big academic at this point, but my background is an investment banker, finance person, buying and selling companies. I'm transaction oriented by nature. So if you look at this budget, this is what I want to focus people on. when people show up and tell us this project is 2 billion, 3 billion, or whatever absurd billion they bring up, I say, look, this is what it costs. 100 people have reviewed this page, a lot of talented engineers, a lot of smart bankers and lawyers. And after 100 people have read this and we've pounded it into one page, this is what it costs. We built, designed, envisioned the Kmart canals. Simple canal, a simple amount of water for 5 years. Once the lake is full and it meets a certain standard, we dial it back. I believe there are other teams that can deal with the salt in the lake. They can make fresh water. They could make unbelievable amounts of salt, and that'll come up shortly. But selling salt is the secret weapon in this whole concept of saving the lake. That's Tom's business. But a lot of us have spent a lot of time in Mexico. I lived there for 5 years. Can you go to slide 3, please?
Sure.
In that 5 years I lived in Mexico, in Rosarito, we took 3 film crews to this area. We drove the pipeline route. We spent hundreds of hours. Page 3, please.
I'm getting there.
Hundreds of hours in the Laguna Salada Valley, hundreds of hours with the Cocopah. And we spent a little bit of time with Mr. Cosio. And I was very happy to hear what he said tonight, because he's also spent 10 years on this idea or longer. And the one thing he said, I just want to bring to your attention. When you deal with CESP, and you deal with Conagua and the federal agencies in Mexico like we have for hundreds of hours, you cannot flood the Laguna Salada. The Cocopah don't want it. The farmers don't want it. The 2 federal agencies don't want it. And the water and sewer people don't want it. So if he says it and I say it, please take it as the gospel for guys who've been doing this for 10 years each and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars and who've been there. It's not happening. So give up this idea of flooding the lake. It's a canal, it's a tunnel, it's a canal. So this design has been researched. We've taken the film crews there, we've camped there. I can attest to it's, pretty remote place, but it will work. If you can go back to slide 2, please. And I'm going to basically challenge all of you to prove me wrong about our costs. So if you look at the top section, IC stands for Imperial County. The midsection, LS, is Laguna Salada. The third section is a blend of all the costs. And then the last part is our 2 nonprofit elements and the cost of the 2 operating companies. 1 water company in Mexico, 1 in the United States. Separate budgets, separate teams, separate P&Ls, still moving water, but they run together to make it work out. And to all the talented engineers on this call, and I've spent a fair amount of time with Mr. Clinton, this is just a ditch project. And California is not going to spend billions of dollars on this stuff. They're going to spend the least amount they can. And if you guys don't bring a solution of how to pay for this, they won't do it. Now, a couple of us have figured out how to pay for it. It's in our master proposal. A few of us have figured out how to do this efficiently. A few of us have figured out how to partner with the salt guys who can figure this out. And we've made this the simplest project that can be built. That is the key to its success. And frankly, and not to offend anybody, I don't think any of us are going to win this fight unless we all work together. I think there's a crew in California that can deal with the fresh water and the salt. I think there's a crew in Mexico, the farmers, the Cocopah, the Cosios, a few others, that we all must work together. I'm not sure we'll all like each other, but we all must work together for our mutual benefit. Because one thing we've learned for 10 years and freaking 5,000 hours of effort on this, if we don't cooperate with each other, we will fail. Straight up fail. Even though we all have different ideas, I publish my budgets for a reason. It's to put some reality into these conversations. This is not a super expensive project. We have a way to self-finance. Tom has a way to self-finance. Joe Rizzi has a way to self-finance. So I invite all of you to work together with us, put down our old issues in the past, and let's all come together to work together and design a project that works. So, Tom, you want to comment? Or Mr. Clinton, do you want to comment? Or Mr. Cozio, you want to comment?
You still have 3 minutes.
Yeah, let's invite some of my old friends to comment.
If anyone would like to comment, send me a message. I have 3 minutes and counting. I'm going to open it up.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yes. Yes, of course, I agree with Mr. Jennings. We cannot prevail making solitary efforts. We need to find common grounds and push this project to the end. So as I told in Quadrant, we are open to work it out.
And ladies and gentlemen, if Roberto and I can have this conversation, all of you can get along. So again, we welcome everyone to work together. We suggest we merge together. Let the SALT team work their side. Let the canal guys work their side. Go ahead, Tom.
You have 2 minutes. And in this one moment, anyone that Mr. Jennings or his team has invited to comment can comment. At this point, others cannot. So it's still part of your presentation.
Stay on page 2.
Speaking for
Go ahead,
Sefton
Tom.
Technology, we're open to cooperation, and I think we can provide some beneficial technologies and ideas to help pay for this project and to make it a winner for the environment, for the recreation, for the people of the region, and for the economic improvement of that's much needed by everyone in the region, on both sides of the border. Thanks.
Dan, why don't you say something quick and then I'll wrap up.
Sure. Gary's absolutely right that the simplicity of our presentation and project is to facilitate getting the water to fill up the sea. All of the other ancillary projects will be beneficiaries of that and will come alongside but the water is a secret and we have the way to handle that. And we've been working with Tom Sefton ever since, 10 years. And Tom, brilliant guy, has got a lot of great information and ideas, and we work with him and others. And Gary's absolutely right that we welcome all parties into the tent, and we need to work together to get this done. If we don't have solidarity and the focus of getting the water into the region, and all these other beneficial projects can arise from that as ancillary additions, so be it. But this is a great opportunity and we need to work together.
You have 20 seconds.
All right, so to wrap this up, just so everybody knows our strategy, we are petitioning the governor, Arturo's boss, key legislators with an offer. We've told them how much the water is, how much it costs, how to pay for it, and quit screwing around and get it done before we all die of old age. So we've taken a direct approach.
Would you like to share your contact information, Mr. Jennings?
I sent it to you. Can you send it out to everybody? It's the Facebook page.
That has been shared. Thank you so much, Mr. Jennings. If you would like, as everyone here, we're happy to share your plan on our website. And then the next presentation is by Sefton Water Technologies.
Thank you for the opportunity, and thank you to all the presenters who've presented so far. I really appreciate the opportunity to learn about your excellent ideas. And let me start the share and then start the presentation.
And while this is happening, I do want to just let everyone know that all of these presentations are views of the presenters. This isn't necessarily the view of the EcoMedia Compass, though we do support all of these plans in solidarity. Thank you.
I'm I'm seeing a message that says host disabled participant screen sharing. Could you enable, please?
Well, let's give you some goodies then. One moment, Mr. Sefton. You are now able to share. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. So I'll start sharing now. And hopefully, here we go. Okay, that's interesting.
We can see that. Thank you.
Okay, great. I'm going to start this. All right, you're seeing a view of the Salton Sea with clouds and a couple of cormorants in the trees, I hope.
Yes.
Good. Okay. So this proposal is called the Water Import Salt Extraction Revenue Project. The acronym is WISER, and I think of it as wiser than, definitely wiser than letting the Salton Sea die and dry up. Let's put it that way. The plan is to restore the Salton Sea and to pay for the restoration, which is very critical to it. As Carrie mentioned at the top end, water supports life. Anywhere clean water available, life thrives. You can see it anywhere around the Salton Sea. Anywhere there's good water, plants grow, birds, animals, fish thrive. And this place has been, unlike the myth of the Salton Sea being an accidental sea, it is not. The Salton Sea has, through thousands of years, been filled with Colorado River water, periodically drying down and filling up again, but it has been an aquatic ecosystem for thousands of years. So don't believe people when they tell you it's an accidental sea that was only formed in 1906. It pre-existed that by a long time. The population of fish and birds are declining very rapidly. That's because the Salton Sea is a terminal lake. It's more than 200 feet below sea level. Water and salt flow in. Water evaporates, leaving all the salt and any other contaminants behind. The WISER project proposes to import 500,000 acre-feet of ocean water through Laguna Salada and return salt to free, clean water, return the free, clean water to the Salton Sea ecosystem. We have a thermal distillation process that we've developed at the Salton Sea over a 14-year period. The process isn't free, but the value of the pure salt extracted completely can pay for the process. We would propose to import the 500,000 acre-feet annually through a Laguna Salada concrete line canal, not flooding, but a canal. And we would propose to pay either public agencies or private companies to build and run the canal. We can afford to pay them in excess of $110 per acre foot of ocean water delivered to the Salton Sea, split that between Mexican agencies or companies and US companies. We would distill 250,000 acre feet of water pulled straight from the Salton Sea. That's because that removes more salt than pulling it from the inflow. Here's a diagram of the overall concept. We essentially produce water, salt, and power from the Salton Sea. That's our revenue sources: salt, water, power. It's a cash business. Water is essentially, could be an ancillary, and is an ancillary benefit to the extent that we return it to the Salton Sea, and we can actually return the full 250,000 acre feet to habitat projects at the sea. Why can we do that? I won't go into the details of this, but the basis is salt is worth ton for ton 100 times as much as purified water. You have to use a canal to efficiently deliver water. Salt being 100 times more valuable per ton, you can afford to bag it, load it on a rail car or a truck, and ship it to customers outside the area. You can also use salt for various industrial processes, leather tanning, food processing, both relevant in Imperial County, and also chlor-alkali process and other industrial processes. The U.S. salt market is been gradually increasing over the years, and the U.S. imports about 10% of its total salt supplies. The price of salt is also rising faster than the rate of inflation. Solar salt grade gets $120 per ton, and the refined salt gets $220 per ton. This is charting out how our commercial salt production would go. We would split it between the refined salt and the solar salt grade, producing up to about 4 million tons of refined salt and a gradually increasing amount of solar salt. That keeps it within reasonable market limitations. Renewable power will run the process. Geothermal and thermal, both from salt gradient solar ponds and conceivably from parabolic troughs as well. The power sales, this is a chart of the power sales. The primary power resource is salt gradient solar ponds. You're seeing a salt gradient solar pond that was run by the Ormat company in Israel at the Dead Sea for a number of years. It's a technology that's been around for many years. We're basing our power calculations on this. And it is also our outflow for the unrefined, mixed, unpurified salts and a place to put other contaminants that are in the water. These are the overall financial estimates of the project. We would basically need about 600 million in capital to build the basic project. We would expect the revenue is the top light green line. The costs are the red line, and the profit is the difference between those. And you see we get a substantial profit rising over the years from $500 million to $1 billion to $1.5 billion and so forth over time. We remove salinity to benefit the Salton Sea. We would pull out all of the salt that is being delivered to the Salton Sea through the ocean water, and additionally pull out all of the salt that's coming in through the agricultural drainage that now exists. So we'd be pulling out starting at about 15 million tons per year, rising over time to about 20 million tons per year of salt removal from the Salton Sea. The project will restore the Salton Sea's elevation. The lower red line is where we're going without a project intervention. The dark blue line in between is where we would be if IID were not selling off the Salton Sea's water to San Diego Metropolitan Water District and the Coachella Valley Water District. So to overcome that red line, we need that light blue line, which is where we will take the elevation of the Salton Sea back up to around minus 230 feet of elevation, which will eliminate the dust. Here it shows the elimination of playa dust. So by 2035, with ocean water inflow and our other technologies, we would get the dust to zero. The project will restore the Salton Sea salinity over time. Initially, the import of ocean water will give us an initial push. Starting in about 2030 is when we would anticipate getting through the long and difficult permit and international agreement process and bringing in ocean water at 500,000 acre-feet per year. That gives us a benefit. We will also start the desalination project ahead of that. Because we can build those plants earlier and start taking high salinity water out of the sea and putting clean, low salinity water back into the sea or into habitat projects around the sea. This is a plant where we've developed this technology over a 14-year period. It's located in the southeast corner of the Salton Sea at a geothermal power plant. This is our process we developed back in 2009 through 2011. Purify Salton Sea salts into a commercial product. This is the test data from that to show that it works. This is how our distillation process works. This is a multi-effect distillation process where you reuse the heat from the geothermal steam as many times as you can within the steam, high steam temperature and the cooling source. We believe that we've proven we can do 15 effects. We can
1 minute, Mr. Sefton.
Cover 60 effects. I know I'm at 45 seconds. And here is my contact information. And I thank you very much for the opportunity to present. Any quick questions?
So at this time, everyone, I'd like to open up the field for questions to these project teams. Thank you so much, Mr. Sefton, for your solution for the Salton Sea. So if we have questions at any time for project teams, you can send them to me in chat. That's the easiest way. Not everyone has video, so if you can send them in chat, that would be the fairest way that I could I could think. We have a question for project teams. Okay, send me a question, and if you would like to answer it, either raise your hand if you're a presenter or send me a text that you'd like to answer it, because we have quite a few people on. So we have a question, what's efficiency of the desalination process? Would anyone like to answer that? We'll do that, and then we aren't getting a lot of questions, so we have some other things we can move on to that may be very helpful. Mr. Sefton.
There are various desalination processes. The one that I'm proposing is highly both water and thermally efficient. We can recover over 90% of the Salton Sea water as pure distilled water. And we can recover the majority of the salt as pure salt. And we are very thermally efficient by reusing the geothermal resource up to 60 times over to get one of the most efficient distillation processes in the world.
Thank you so much. It looks like we have Chuck and Feliz. Nod if you have some comments for us.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
I just wanted to ask Tom Sefton if he is aware of the plans by the San Diego Water District to, they want to build a pipeline directly from IID to San Diego to carry water over to San Diego, but they want to desalinate it near the Salton Sea and dump more salt into the sea. Dump the brine into the sea.
I am very much aware. I've read their description, which is actually available on the San Diego County Water Authority website if you look a little for it. And yes, that's exactly what they're planning to do. It's a $5 billion project, and it's insane. They're actually going to desalinate Colorado River water at about 700 parts per million salinity because the gentle folk of San Diego need their salinity to be below 500 parts per million. Here in Imperial Valley, it's considered good enough for us to drink. It certainly makes sense to distill Salton Sea water and deliver that water to San Diego and take that Colorado River water that they're taking from us at a low price and put it back into our ecosystem, gallon for gallon.
Okay, thank you. We have a couple little updates and things that I'd like to share, and then we'll move on to some other commentary. So if you would like to speak for 2 minutes, then that's what we're gonna do. If you'd like to speak for 2 minutes, send me a message. I see hands raised, thank you. Send me a message if you'd like to speak for 2 minutes. I think that's the best thing I could do for the public. So over the years, we've worked to produce many different pieces about the Salton Sea, about restoration, about bringing people together, and yes, about adding water. We have produced 2 full-length films, or co-produced 2 full-length films about the Salton Sea. One that came out recently was produced by a film company named We Are Aris. That's called Miracle in the Desert. I'm going to share that in the chat. And this is a newer film. We presented it this year at our Earth Day event that came out recently. And it does talk about adding water. It does talk about dust. It talks about our local residents. It talks about our project in Desert Shores. And then we also have another film we'll talk about in just a moment. So there is Miracle in the Desert. And another film that we did a few years ago is called SOS, The Salton Sea Walk. All of these are going to have familiar faces. And this was following the journey and the adventure, walking around the Salton Sea for Awareness by Mr. Randy Brown. That was by Black Moon Films. And we traveled to Mexico in that one and actually explored the Coyote Canal. And I'm going to show one little piece of imagery of what the Coyote Canal looks like, because all of these teams talked about it. We're being non-biased. All of these teams talked about this place. So this canal is about halfway dug, almost, from the Sea of Cortez. It flows up into Laguna Salada, and currently there's more water than this now. Someone sent me a message recently. They took a 5-mile trip on their boat up this. So there's water currently flowing from the ocean, and if there's any tailings of the Colorado River in that area, flowing up the Coyote Canal. And I thought that's worth knowing. We do have some upcoming events. Since it is on the topic of this, Aegis Inc. did have an event in March. They are working with Seawater Import. Wanted to let you know that. You could check them out. We also have our Earth Day event. We do an Earth Day event every year. And we're also celebrating 10 years as a 501c3 nonprofit, where volunteers, any donations that you make, we really appreciate, because that makes it so we can do things like this. So we really appreciate any donations you can make, any support. If you would like to be a part of the team that is reaching out to city councils, that is reaching out and giving awareness to the public and getting people involved, let us know. We are asking that each of these project teams, if they would like, share their information so we can host it on our website so that the public can review all of these plans. I personally believe that many of these are very complementary, and a lot of these presenters are like players on a football team. Not everyone's the running back, not everyone's the quarterback, not everyone's defense, but I believe they can all work together. And I believe that's how it will be done. Let's move on to some questions, because that's what we should do. All right, one moment. So I hope you all got to see the Coyote Canal that each of these teams was talking about. It exists. It's in Mexico. We've traveled the entire route. It was the wildest journey of my life, by far. No joke. And some people are laughing. It's not a joke. Okay. Okay, so we have some questions. Who came up next after I mentioned that? So, okay, I'm going to read one, since if he doesn't want to read it, I'm just going to read it. Okay, let's see. In order. Okay, I'm going to click on Karen Miner. If they would like to read that, I'm just going to unmute something about Salton Sea Authority, and then we're going to go in order. So this is Karen. Karen, at this time, if you would like to ask a question, go for it. Okay, go.
Am I on?
You are on. A strong sounding Karen.
All right, it's Jeff Miner.
Jeff Miner, thank you so much for your support in this event. He sent out a lot of emails to get people to turn out. We really appreciate you.
Sure. So why has the Salton Sea Authority given these solutions so little attention?
And who are you directing this to?
To anyone that would like to answer it.
Anyone can raise their hand. I'm not going to answer that one. All right, and we're going to be 2 minutes into this question. The first person that raised their hand was Mr. Jennings. Go. Okay, go, Gary.
So the Salton Sea Authority has a different agenda than everybody on this call. They have their own engineers, their own strategy. It's pretty much what they think is best. It does really not match what the people think or anybody on this call. And for all of us who have suffered through 4 general managers and Tetra Tech and all their nonsense, they just have a different agenda, and we don't think their agenda is a good one. I don't. That's my short answer.
All right, thank you. We're going to move on to the next question. Okay, let's 1 minute for Nicola, and then we'll move on to the next question. Thank you. Go, Nicola.
Good.
Well, here we go, and you have a minute, good sir. Thank you. Unmuting. Once again, this is a public forum. People
Right,
will
okay.
remember what you say.
Sure. Well, can you hear me now?
Yes, Nicola, thank you.
Well, the question is why IID doing it? Well, they own land on some part of the lake.
No, they said Salton Sea Authority. So the question was, where is Salton Sea Authority?
Well, they're very much influenced by IID. IID own land on south part of the lake, and they would like to get rid of lake. And they say they don't say that openly. They say, well, smaller, sustainable lake, 10 years plan, perimeter lake, perimeter / brine lake. It's nonsense. Everybody knows that the lake will be smaller, saltier, smellier, and more polluted. Why they are doing that? Because they want to lease that land for 250, 20, I believe 12 million plus some percentage of the extraction of minerals. That's crime. People will get sick. People will have asthma, cancer. We're going to lose lake. Now, importing seawater.
Nicola, that's 1 minute. I appreciate you. That's
Okay.
definitely an opinion that some people have. And we're going to move on to the next question. The next is, what agencies are tying the projects up? Who are the players? And who would we need to pressure to move towards seawater transport? I'm going to answer that one. So there are a number of projects in motion right now, smaller scale projects. If we go around the lake, there's the North Lake Pilot Project, there's wetlands at Bombay Beach, there's the Species Conservation Habitat, which is starting, it looks like. There's Red Hill Bay, which is torn up in some red tape at the moment. Moving around, there's the Desert Shores Restoration Project. All of these are valid, valuable, small-scale projects. There's also the Salton Sea Authority is asking for a perimeter lake. There's a few others that have been presented. The Natural Resources Agency is working on the state's 10-year plan. That's what they want to do in the next 10 years. And it's mostly completing these smaller scale projects. Personally, I see that as an arc. Mr. Arturo Delgado, to keep the animals alive, Mr. Arturo Delgado, the Natural Resources Agency's Assistant Secretary for Salton Sea Policy, called me today and said that they are on board with supporting looking into seawater import as a long-term solution. And they are doing this in parallel with completing the 10-year plan and then with getting the long-term solution finalized by 2022. About other organizations that are involved, well, there are a few different state agencies that would like to see their projects completed. There are water companies that want the water, that want potential mining interests, that own a lot of land, and they're all elephants in the room. They're big, important players. What I believe we need to do is band behind the people that actually want to fix the lake, i.e. the people that are speaking to you about solutions on how to actually fix the whole lake. Support these people. Support the 10-year plan, smaller projects. Those are important. We need to keep canals alive. We need to keep birds alive. We need to keep communities thriving. But we also need to develop a long-term plan at the same time. And so that's what I believe at this point in the CNRA, the California Natural Resources Agency, under the governor's order, is the leading agency conducting plans. The Salton Sea Authority has representatives from many of these different agencies, and they meet monthly to meet monthly. We're going to move on to the next question. Okay, so next question. Nathan White would like to talk about Laguna Salada. Okay, you will have 2 minutes, Nathan White.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to briefly discuss, I don't know if we have the screen sharing option here. We don't have that disabled right now, but there's two-part question. I first wanted to talk about the Salton Sea Authority. I think what needs to really happen, because the smaller sustainable perimeter lake concept just got federal funding for feasibility. What really needs to happen, and is complementary to all of these projects, is we have a couple proposals for regional climate modeling, which is 3D modeling of the region, the spectrum of area. So if we look at a perimeter lake under a 3D and regional climate model perspective, that's a reduction of 50% of the surface area of the Salton Sea. What effect that will have on the Colorado River Basin in the region, what restored Salton Sea would look like, as it affects, the Colorado River Basin, but also the larger projects like Laguna Salada and wetlands around there, because that could have a beneficial impact on much more ecology and bird species than just the confines of the Salton Sea. Sure. Oh, 1 minute. But specifically to the conversation, because we kind of, there were several groups that were mentioning that Laguna Salada cannot be restored or cannot be flooded or cannot be filled. And, we just see that as there's certain opponents to that concept, but we've gotten a lot of positive feedback from the Kukapa tribe, from Kanagua, from many different agencies. So, there's several groups that are putting that out, and just want to make it clear that there has not been any opposition from the federal agencies that we've met with in Mexico. There is a conversation about aquifers being negatively affected, but we've mapped those, and those regions would actually get affected positively with flooding of Laguna Salada. But more importantly, it restores the delta, and it restores the endangered species of the Quita and Totuaba that inhabit the northern part of the Sea of Cortez. So just want to kind of bring that up. You'll hear a lot about it not being possible, but anything's possible.
Thank you, Mr. Nathan White. We have another question. I know this is from a Gordon. I know it would be a large upfront cost, but has anyone considered making the canal navigable to barges? You would have a significant long-term economic impact by providing jobs, shipping, agricultural products, the salt and products from the factories in Mexicali worldwide. You could also take some of the strain off the Port of LA. If anyone wants to answer that for a minute, or we have up to 2 minutes for each question, let me know. If not, we could text me if you would like to answer that.
I have for previous question some comment.
Okay, is anyone ready to answer that? Okay, I have a Rob Simpson ready to answer that. So do we have, let's have Rob, and then Nicola has a comment after that. So let's do Rob. Where is Rob? Is Rob still here?
Right here.
Okay, Rob, go for it.
Okay.
We have 2 minutes for that question.
Can I share screen?
If you can do it in 2 minutes, I can't see you. Where are we at?
I'm way over here.
Sure. Okay.
Right. To answer that question, yes, we can definitely. Our export channel from Laguna Salada is designed to be deep enough to essentially vary with the tide at San Felipe, which is actually smaller and lower than that at El Golfo, the northern tip of the Gulf of California. So yes, we had anticipated for barges, not really full-blown ocean shipping, large sort of Panamax shipping vessels, but we can certainly do accommodate something smaller than that, as well as an entire, shall we say, fishing fleet, which would have access from the northern end of Laguna Salada down toward the San Felipe area. There was another question as to when the Coyote Canal was built and for what purpose. And if you can just write down this and enter it in as a search, it's the partial name of the paper is Preliminary Study of the Fishery in Laguna Salada, Baja California, in which they give you flow rates and a history of the channel. Became operational in 1974, and it was primarily for irrigation runoff into Laguna Salada from the Mexicali area, and was basically, if you look at a dried up bottom of Laguna Salada, has an awful lot of salt on it. It's been a salty sea. It's been flooded several times, documented by conquistadors, believe it or not. And they had salt levels associated with it from ocean fish to freshwater fish. I hope that answers the question.
That's a great answer. Thank you so much, Rob. And I didn't know all of that. That's fascinating. It looks like we have another point from Mr. Lockig.
Okay.
Go for it. You have
can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
I would like to respond on your comment and Nathan comment, kind of compromise between Salton, smaller sustainable lake or perimeter / brine lake and importing water. With all due respect, it doesn't make sense, people. If you're going to keep smaller lake and you want to import seawater, it doesn't make sense. So you still have to deal with dust problem, suppression, that's a problem. If you want to import water, we have to go back to minus 2020 to go to the level of the 1950s and 60s. There is no reasoning keeping smaller lake, dealing with dust suppression, and importing seawater. I'm sorry, it's just I don't agree with that. We have to,
Nikolai, just to
move forward with the best solution.
And if you'd like to speak, send me a message. Otherwise, you will not be speaking, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm going to keep going down the list of questions. Okay, someone has a question, Mark. And before we do that, if you'd like to help support our efforts in reaching out to cities for resolutions and city councils, please send us an email and we'll work with the Salton Sea Coalition on this. You could write it to info@ecomediacompass.org. We want to get city councils to pass resolutions so that our ask for water import is stronger and now. Thank you. So this question is hearing what sounds like conflicting claims about who has partnerships with the Kukapa to build on their lands. We'd love to hear from the project proponents about who has agreements set up. So does anyone have an agreement already in place with the Kukapa that is legal, binding, and valid? Send to me now if you do. If not, we'll move on. If you have an agreement in place with the Mexican landowners to do your project. And I know there's many conversations that have gone on with them. I've spent the night in their museum. That was fun.
I think Gary Jennings wants to speak to that if possible.
Okay, Gary, go for it. You have 2 minutes. Do we have
So
Gary?
as a little background for all the people on the call, Roberto Cascio started this many, many years ago, and I was involved with them. Now Nathan's involved with them. All of us have had our ups and downs with the Kukapa, but I do believe the Kukapa would like to help the Salton Sea, and I do believe they'd like to help their community, and I do believe they will work with all of us again if we ever get this off the ground.
So do I.
And I do believe the other side of the lake, where the 9 ranchers are and the ejidos, we have agreements with them, but I do think our only success will be is our ranchers, the Kukapa, Roberto, the whole crew down there, literally working together. Everyone get a little piece of the pie so everyone can make out, and then it works. Kukapa own one half of the lake, the feds own the other half, and the farmers own the other half, or the other third. So I think it's possible we all can work with them at some level.
Thank you. And I believe that working together on this is quite possible as well. Good to know. We have a comment. I'm a 79-year-old ex-Salton Sea guy. I tuned into this presentation out of curiosity, but I am so pleased to see the powerful people working on this problem. Thank you. All right. Thank you, David. We appreciate you being here. Christopher says, thank you for hosting this presentation. Thank you for thanking us. We appreciate that. Feels good. Let's see. Okay, we have a question. Is Tetra Tech the single plant geothermal company? Okay, does anyone know that question? Tetra Tech is not a geothermal company. They're a project engineering company, and they are not the plant that went bankrupt after Elon Musk. So that's a no. We're going to keep this to water imports. So there was a question about desert shores. These teams are actively working on desert shores. Excited for that. EcoMedia has project land to put a berm in, but we're going to keep this to water import. Let's see if we have, someone says, Kukapad Indian tribe member listening. Awesome info, awesome info. All right. Someone says, why is Arturo Delgado not presenting tonight? Well, heads of government don't have to go to any non-governmental functions. He did call in today and say that he's happy that we're doing this. Wanted to let people know that they are working on the 10-year plan and long-term planning concurrently. And we spoke for half an hour. And what I said, EcoMedia and the people in this room and in this type of conversation will do is continue to share and amplify the teams and projects that know how to fix the lake to make their work easier when they're ready to work on a long-term plan. So that's why we're going to share this information on our website, make it public, encourage collaboration, and let the Salton Sea be refilled. All right, there we go. So Arturo Delgado, you can definitely reach out to him. He also mentioned something that I thought was interesting, that he has made it clear that he's not spending a lot of time meeting with individual organizations or companies that have solutions because he doesn't want to be biased. He mentioned that some teams, some people in his place in the past may have spent a lot of time with certain groups, and that isn't fair. So they're adhering to a very strict RFP and review program. And I understand that. And that's part of the reason why we are mirroring the way that they are doing that, so that they can take our work and use it to hurry up. Okay. Maybe if all of these people influencing water import, their contact info is put into the website, then maybe people can inundate these people, these agencies, with requests and demands for water import. And Linda, thank you. We're doing that. We're doing just that. So I'm going to put the link to that information here, right there. It's also in Spanish. If you go there, you could click and it translate automatically to Spanish. So these are the original presentations that were developed and presented to the state 3 years ago. We are going to invite each of these project teams to send us presentation information, and we'll build them a website page on our website. Equal space, have it as even as possible for this education and support for these teams that I believe can work together and fix this lake. Okay, someone says, the state is the villain in this. Why are they not participating? Well, they did in their own way. And we are the state, we are the government. We need to show up, and let's stop villainizing each other. We need to show up, we need to be heard, we need to write letters, and let's participate in these forums that talk about solutions and not the things that haven't worked. Keep talking about what will work. Let's stop talking about what hasn't worked. Over it. Let's talk about fixing it. That's it. All right, thank you. Can anyone speak to lithium developments that are now approved? Anyone? This is Greg, who created the film Miracle in the Desert. Does anyone have 2 minutes on lithium developments currently? If you are, write to me, please. If you have an answer, just send me a message. I will answer to whoever says that first. All right, we have Mr. Sefton who can answer, and 2 minutes. Go, Tom, about what's going on with lithium.
Yes, actually, all three of the geothermal companies that are on the Salton Sea known geothermal resource area are currently active in developing lithium. Energy Source, who's probably the furthest along with that, is now in the process of doing documentation for a plant that they intend to build adjacent to their existing facility near Nyland. Controlled Thermal Resources is a new company that has not yet built a plant, but they are in the process. They have leased a lot of land near Mullet Island. They intend to build a large plant there, and they are basing their financial model primarily on lithium development, and they have a process that they've developed that they're counting on to provide a large amount of revenue. And the largest current geothermal operator, Cal Energy, with 10 plants on the Salton Sea resource, is also actively looking at the lithium opportunity. That's it.
Awesome. Thank you. That's a great update. Okay, we have two more, a couple different comments, and then we have an announcement if Roy Durantes is on. Okay, so Miguel Romero says, I'm Miguel. I cover Salton Sea issues for Assemblymember Garcia. He's been listening in, wanted to express our thanks for putting this forum together and offer to update everyone on our upcoming plans. So Miguel, please do update. We'll turn you over for 2 minutes on the current efforts of Eduardo Garcia's office and your good work there. Let me find out how to, there we go. Go for it, Miguel.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Like I said, my name is Miguel Romero, Field Representative with the Office of Assembly Member Eduardo Garcia. Want to start off again by thanking EcoMedia Compass for putting this forum together. We think these conversations are very important in the continued engagement of our community in effort to restore our sea. So I'm very grateful for these efforts being made by everyone here today. As for the Assembly Member, this coming year, we plan to be asking for another significant amount of funds in our climate resiliency bond, somewhat in the ballpark of 200 million, similar to Prop 68. And in addition, as I'm sure you've heard, plans for in March, the independent review of these projects. We hope a lot of good comes from this, and that we can progress to that long-term solution, which is desperately needed. We're happy with some of the momentum that's been happening in the last few months under the leadership of Ray Quilford, Arturo Delgado. We're seeing the SCH, we're seeing projects along Bombay Beach, as was said, Bouchard Road, and also want to express that going forward, we want to continue supporting the Desert Shore project. Currently, there are talks with CVWD for getting water to that project, so very happy that we're getting those conversations going there. Lastly, on the lithium conversation that somebody just mentioned, last year we formed the Blue Ribbon Commission on Lithium Extraction at the Salton Sea, and this year we intend to ask for a select committee on lithium recovery at the Salton Sea and also restoration for the Salton Sea. So I'm very excited to continue working with all these projects. Thank you all for being here today. And as always, we're a resource for all of you. Thank you all.
Miguel, thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate you. We appreciate the efforts of your office over the years. And we'd like to go out on a limb and ask you to help us pass some resolutions in local governments and local forums to support water import. We believe this will help virtually every project at the sea that isn't dry mitigation. So we'd love to have your support for that. And we thank you so much for tuning in. Okay, we have Mr. Roy Durantes. So we have a happy, fun announcement. I'm really excited about this. And let us turn this over to Roy in just 1 second. Roy, are you on? Just a moment. Let's see, do we have Roy Durantes on? Eric, help me find him if you can.
There we are.
Thank you, Roy. What are you working on now, and how can we help?
Okay, so my name is Roy Durantes. I am a journalist and a filmmaker from Imperial Valley. I have been concerned with the Salton Sea for many years now, covering any updates for the local television channels of KYMA, KSWT, and Telemundo. And recently I left those TV stations and I went independent because I wanted to cover more than homicides and all kinds of criminal activity. I wanted to cover other stories like the Salton Sea. So I'm doing that on my own now, and I'm also helping nonprofit organizations with some media consulting. And so with that in mind, I wanted to make my community aware of what was going on, but I found out to my sadness that a lot of people didn't really care or were not aware of what was going on. So what I did is I came up with an idea. I launched my own Salton Sea Film Festival and I raised $2,500 to give to young people who would make movies and short films, and it worked great. You know, the community got excited behind that. We had a fantastic contribution of young people, even though with COVID. So, I mean, you know, that was a big challenge, how to do this during COVID. So now we're getting ready for our next film festival. And as we are doing that, in my effort to raise awareness, we launched a local TV series called Saving the Salton Sea. And it airs the last Saturday of the month on CBS 13. So these are my efforts to raise awareness in my community in an exciting and engaging way. So I'm trying to get my community to be hands-on, boots on the ground, on their own, so that we can do something together. Now, we're doing this not from an expert's point of view, because definitely I am not an expert. I appreciate all of you for the talk and the sharing. I mean, my mind is blown away by what you guys shared, and I don't think I understood like more than 10% of it, but you know, trying to keep up with you guys is amazing. But we are approaching the Salton Sea problem through a community concern point of view, not an expert point of view. We are reaching out to experts such as yourselves to give us the information so that we can share it with our community. So please reach out to me. My contact information is there on the chat. If I can interview some of you to put you on my TV show, that would be fantastic. I don't know if my 2 minutes are up. So let me know.
Roy, please share your contact information one more time. We love that you titled your show Saving the Salton Sea, not the opposite. You're talking about saving the Salton Sea, and I really love the positivity and the encouragement of restoration through that title that you chose. Can you share your contact information one more time, please?
Absolutely, I will put that on the chat, but you know, you can reach me at savingthesaltonsea.project@gmail.com, and my phone number 760-234-1940. Please reach out to me, guys. I need content. I need content to share with my community, and you guys are the experts, man. I am not the expert. I am the journalist. I am the mouthpiece, but you guys are the brains. Please help me to reach my community, to raise awareness. So I have created this film festival and this TV show just for you guys. You guys are the voice.
Thank you so much, Ray. We're so excited for what you're doing. We thoroughly understand the power of sharing science through media and what it can do. And that's a big part of the reason that we're here. This movement is telling a story through film, the arts, and bringing people together. And we're so excited in the way that you're doing it. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
We have just a couple more comments, and then we'll end with the director of one of our other films just shortly, because we're about to wrap up. But someone says, thank you for this presentation. I grew up coming from the Salton Sea from the time I was born in Long Beach. Hey, I born in Long Beach as well, Candace, and was lucky to be able to enjoy it. I currently reside in Bombay Beach, and it saddens me to see the rate which is declining. I hope that everyone can work together to find a solution that works and actually get it done. Awesome. Thank you, Candace. We're glad you're here. Okay, let's see. So let's see. Freddie responded, it's so true. Not enough of the residents know about the Salton Sea. Freddie, we could use your help. Okay, so we're about to wrap up here. I'm going to turn it over to Greg, and then I'll do a closing comment. Greg Bassinian, please tune in. Tell us a little bit about this film that covers just what we've been talking about.
Sure. Can you hear me, Carrie? Am I clear here?
Yes, sir.
Thanks, everybody, first of all, for coming tonight. And I want to, my name is Greg Bassinian. I directed the film Miracle in the Desert, The Rise and Fall of the Salton Sea. I just wanted to take a moment to thank all of you and echo a lot of the things that Roy had said. It's incredible and amazing to see the effort that people like you are putting into restoration projects, raising awareness. And first and foremost, special thanks to Kerry Morrison here for spearheading a lot of these things, donating his time to the film, for everybody at EcoMedia Compass who has worked on this for many years and participated in my film and all of the other pieces of media that you guys donate your time to to raise awareness. It's really incredible what you guys are doing. So thank you. If you guys have not seen the film or would like to see the film, it is now available on iTunes and Google Play nationwide. It's also available in Mexico, so we've made it available for those communities. It has Spanish subtitles, so if you're able to share that out, that would be great. Huge thanks, Roy. I heard about your film festival through an interview with Imperial Valley Press. Incredible what you're doing. So I hope you get more media. I would donate my film. Unfortunately, it's been acquired and I cannot do that, or else I would absolutely hand it over to you. But you deserve all the credit in the world. And to all of you who are spending your time putting together these proposals, you are doing the good work. And, you know, it's incredible to see the progress that's been made. I started out there in 2014. Things do move pretty slowly at the Salton Sea. I've been to Red Hill Bay Marina for 6 years in a row, but it seems like there's momentum coming and that we can overcome what's happened with COVID. And hopefully with some new leadership, those things can actually happen. So thanks again to those of you who are working on it. I will continue to participate and spread the word as much as I can. And if you have a chance to watch the film, please do. Thanks again to Carrie and EcoMedia Compass and everybody for putting all this together. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Well, on that note, we have just a couple other things to wrap up with. Once again, we're encouraging everyone to reach out and help us support city resolutions for water import. We encourage all of the teams to share the information that you shared today. We'll put it on the website. We want to share this for you. We want to be your cheerleaders. We want to market this for you. We want to help make it an easy transition when the state starts working on the actual plan that will fill up the lake. We want to help you with this. So let us be your cheerleaders. Let us help you put your plans and your wisdom and connect with the press, with the media, with films, with the news. That's what we're good at. We want to tell the story of this place. I want to thank all of you so much for tuning in. Thank all of the volunteers that have helped make this and our events over the past 10 years great successes. And I'm also really excited for the projects that are gaining ground right now. The Species Conservation Habitat, the Desert Shores Restoration Project. There's a project with Audubon and Bombay Beach. There's the North Lake Pilot Project that's going to put some water in one place in a sustainable shoreline. The Salton Sea Authority just got a new executive director, Patrick O'Dowd. Let's support these people. Let's be supporters. Let's call them out when they're wrong, but we need to support each other. So really, really grateful you all turned up. Presenters, please share with us your plans. We'll share this for you. Thank you so much. If you'd like to support us online, go to ecomediacompass.org. We're volunteers. You can make a donation. If you're a project team, it's awesome if it's an anonymous donation, because we're going to do the same for all of you until the state frigging picks one up. But we really appreciate your help. Please donate. Please buy a cool shirt. And we have a lot of good things coming for you. Our next event is going to be in April. It's our 10-year anniversary and Earth Day. We'll be partnering with some of the people you see here. Remember, Aegis has an event in March also about seawater import, and we encourage all of you to stay involved, stay active. Check out our website. We have some great resources. There's a template letter to the governor. You could write a letter asking support for seawater import. Come to these meetings. If you have questions, reach out. We love you. Thank you. And one thing that I really like to do is my guilty pleasure is to get everyone to say Save Our Sea. And so I'm going to go down in 1 minute. We're going to have everyone yell Save Our Sea because that's our guilty pleasure. You may have seen the image a bit back. We did the world's largest SOS out of Jeeps on the beach that shouldn't be there. And we need to share this loud with the world. So I'm unmuting everyone for one crazy moment, and stick around, we'll yell Save Our Sea, and then we'll share this video with everyone and their sweet mothers. Okay, so those of you who are unmuted, okay, on 3, Save Our Sea. Ready, 1, 2, 3.
Save our sea!
Good work, thank you.
Thank you.
See you next time.
Thank you. Good night.
Night.
Bye.
Bye.